Hey YouTube, this is Gene and Colin. We're gonna make a YouTube channel on how to build an LED cube 8x8x8. We're gonna be using a DD kit from eBay. It was around $144, and what it came with was these two pre-done boards. As you can see, I've already started on them. Wish I hadn't. What's really nice about these is if you don't have these, you have to make the boards by hand, which is going to be a pain in the ass because you have to run a whole bunch of wires. So it's really convenient to have these. It makes it a lot easier. I'm just solder the points to the bottom. It's not that hard, not difficult at all. Let's set these aside. So here is the package it comes in. It comes with all the components you need: your resistors, your LEDs, your trend resistors, your chips, your chip holders, all the resistors you need. Which is actually you need a lot of resistors, more chips, more chip holders. What I realized with this kit though, there isn't much room for mistakes. They don't send anything extra, which is kind of not nice. But here's all the components to hook the boards up together. The wire that goes to the cube, to the multiplexer board, and all those two boards over there. And it also comes with 515 LEDs. So they only give you 3 extra LEDs. Just throw all this back in here. Here's a component list that all of it comes with. Just zoom up on that, Gene. Just go all down. So it comes with a lot of stuff. I mean, it's a good deal. It's the $144 was it plus shipping. And I got here actually in a good 7 days. And it came with, like I said, 512 LEDs right over here, Gene. And they come in a package. I put them in this just for safekeeping. And a good way to test these is to grab a 3-volt battery, just like a pocket watch battery, and stick the small end on this end, and it will actually test the LED for you. So that's a good way to test them. It's really fast and efficient. All of these work, so all the ones he sent me sure did work. The things I'll be using in this video is I have this tube, which all my soldering tips were in, that I have all the resistors going towards these chips, and this, so we don't lose them. We have our soldering flux, which we'll be using, very handy. We have our 2 other chips that we're going to be installing in this video. We'll probably just actually install one. We have our rosin core solder, our soldering iron, and our board. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to put this battery away. As you can see, I'll move this board over here in this light so you guys can see it a lot better. Can you zoom up on that at all? Make it look better? Can you see it pretty good? Yeah. Alright, so as you can see, I have 2 of these components pushed through the board. When the guy sends you the kit, he sends you a whole bunch of pictures and plans for the building these boards. So it's somewhat on your part and somewhat on his, because in the plans it says resistors and tell you what resistor. So you can look at the pictures and tell pretty easily. So here on the bottom, you can see I already started these 2. I think this one's done and this one's not, and both of these need resistors. So what we're gonna do is first we're going to get our soldering flux. You want to come over here, Gene? Okay. We have a soldering tip razor blade right here. We're going to be using to just get a small amount of flux here on these points. So let me open this. Dang, that was tight.
That's what she said.
I'm so done, Gene. Okay, so I'm going to apply a small amount of flux right here. It's a good thing to clean up the flux after you're done. I haven't done it yet, but when we get all this done, I'll just dab a paper towel on these components. It's really important when you snip these to make sure none of the wires are touching. That's a lot of flux. Oh well. You can't go wrong with too much flux. Alright, so we'll set this aside. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead, and I have a standard soldering iron. All this, like the solder, the rosin core solder, the flux, the rosin core, the soldering iron. I got all of this at Radio Shack. This was like $25. It came with the cube of, not cube, but a tube of tips. And it's a good soldering iron. It does well. So I have this tip on it. If you buy it, it should look like this. It melts almost instantly. Sticks pretty good also. Yeah, rather tip didn't. So what I like to do is just grab a little tip, a little solder off of this, and then put it on the tip. Go over to this and just dab it, and that's all you have to do. It is connected and you are done. So I'll just go back over here, press this down on this, grab a little more solder, move towards the tip, come back over, get this connection right here, maybe, and well, that's gonna need a little more solder. Okay, and that connection is done. I'm gonna add a little bit to the right side of this one just because it doesn't look so well. I have these little bubbles around here. I'm just gonna pick them up. That's enough solder. So this one right here. Try to move my hand the other way so you guys can see this. It's really easy to solder these points. So when we have that done, we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna we have a wet sponge. I'm gonna go like this, set it down, let it clean itself, put more solder on it. Okay, clean it again, stick it back on in this little holder. Go ahead and grab our wire snippers, and we're actually gonna cut these components here. Alright, so now those are done. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna grab our tube over here. Where is our tube? Okay, try relocated. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna grab one resistor. Take this resistor. It doesn't matter which way you put resistors. They're literally, I think they're not polarity. Well, I'm pretty sure, no, they are not polarity. I googled it, went to different sites and made sure. So what I'm going to do is, as you saw, I kind of folded one end down like that. And we're going to flip this board over. We're going to find which one, the two that don't have a resistor. And it doesn't really matter which way you have the big side going towards it. In the pictures he had the resistor part going towards this. So I did the same thing also, but it doesn't really matter because they're not their polarity. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it in. Okay, and it fell through. As you can see, I'm going to put my finger on it right here. Flip it over, and I'll wiggle it. Maybe you can find it. There it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, grab this razor blade, grab some flux, dab this. A little bit more on that one. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and grab a soldering iron, grab some solder. It's going to be difficult. Okay, now let's go over this bubble. Wow, talk about failure on YouTube. Alright, we're going to separate that bubble. Grab this one. Okay. Move that one to the top. Okay, now we got that. I like to hold the resistor kind of straight, so when you lift it back up, it's not touching anything. That's on. Oh, let's grab a new piece. What's this do here? Move this one to the top. Solder point. Come back over. Kind of flip it. Move the board to where you can solder better, of course, if you're new solder. And that's connected. So now we're just going to clean this off. Put some solder on it. Oops. if these balls don't. Okay, that's good enough. What? Yellow. Okay, put that back in its holder. Grab these wire snippers and snip these two wires. And make sure they're not touching each other. I'll just stab myself. And you're done. And you just repeat this step 16 more times. So, yeah. That needs more solder. End the video.